The deadline was set Friday, February 28th at 5 p.m. This was the red line set by Pete Hegseth, head of the Department of War, for the person in corporate America who is standing up against the Pentagon's right to use AI for whatever they want. Unfortunately for all of us, the one man standing up for positive AI usage by the military is this guy. This is our one hope. Dario Amodei, head of Anthropic. This is who we've got. Okay? Listen, there is a actually major rivalry and story breaking out here between Anthropic, makers of Claude, Dario, and Pete Hegseth of the Pentagon Department of War. They have made a threat. Pete has made a threat to this company to make their company a pariah if it doesn't drop its AI guardrails. So here's the context, okay? This company, Anthropic, makes Claude. It's a competitor to ChatGPT and one of the major AI companies in America right now, worth about $300 billion. They have already signed a contract with the military. They're already being used by the Pentagon. And during the raid that captured Nicolas Maduro, Claude was used. In this situation room, they used Claude to help analyze satellite data, and I think this maybe. Maybe Pete just typed this in. I'm not 100% on how they used Claude. I just know that Claude was considered to be the military's best AI model for what they used in terms of the attack on Venezuela to kidnap Maduro. After that raid, some employees at Anthropic asked some questions. They were like, how was Claude used? How did you, it's our product. How was it used by the military in this situation? And that caused a power struggle because the military, Pete Hegseth, did not like these questions being asked. They're like, who the fuck are you to ask us any questions? We're the Pentagon. You just make the thing. We get to do whatever we want with it. You don't get to ask the questions. Again, the employees expressed concern over the Maduro raid, which is a huge problem for the department, which kicked off some bigger issues. Now, again, what you have to understand is that from the Pentagon side, and Pete Hegseth particularly, they are all in on AI. There's 2 letters that spells war in the modern age. Oh my God.
The future of
There it is, thank God.
American warfare is here, and it's spelled AI. As technologies advance, so do our adversaries. But here at the War Department, we are not sitting idly by. Under the leadership of President Trump, America will lead the charge on this technological transformation by revolutionizing the way we win. And that's why today we are unleashing GenAI.mil. This platform puts the world's most powerful frontier AI models, starting with Google Gemini, directly into the hands of every American warrior.
Okay. So again, they are all in on AI at the Pentagon, and it turns out their most useful model in the things they've done so far is Claude. And yet Claude is the one that's trying to put some tiny limits on what they can use it for. And so the showdown began. Pete Hegseth said, listen, you have until Friday. This is on Tuesday of this week, a few days ago. He said, you have until Friday, February 28th at 5 p.m. That's your red line. If by then you don't back down on your AI safeguards, there's going to be a problem. Now, I want you to realize, I think this is honestly really important. This is a real big debate, and I wouldn't fault you if you're like, I don't like either of these parties. I don't give a shit. I want you to understand what's at stake here. The 2 things that they are asking them to back down on, the safeguards are, number 1, autonomous weapons. No AI-controlled kill decisions. That means Claude is saying you can't use our AI to have a drone kill someone without a human pressing the button. That's it. All Claude is saying is that there needs to be a human in the process so that if you ask them to do something totally horrible, they will refuse to press it. That's it. That's number 1. No AI-controlled kill decisions. They must have a human in the loop. That's all they're asking. And then number 2 is domestic surveillance. No mass surveillance of American citizens. You can't bypass constitutional rights with the algorithm. These are, again, End of list. End of list. Claude has said, you're paying us money. You can use it for literally anything else. We will sign anything else. We have no other restrictions. You just cannot use it for autonomous weapons and domestic surveillance. That is the only, anything you're hearing otherwise is a lie. I have confirmed it. They have written specifically, they have backtracked on any other contract negotiation. Claude has asked, they said they'll sign anything else as long as you sign into the agreement that you won't use it for these two things. And that limit is not being allowed by the Pentagon. And it's a little dystopian because these two things are very dangerous. You can think about the implication. For autonomous kill drones, the implication is obvious, okay? Drones are becoming the most powerful weapon of war in the modern age, as war in Ukraine is showing. And a government that had the ability to autonomously send out drones to kill people could theoretically would not require the consent of the governed. Do you know what I'm saying? They would not require the populace to support them because they have the power of the drone swarms. If there was a human involved in the process, the human could refuse to fire on its own citizens. But that breaks when you have autonomous controlled drones. Not to mention, there are also errors that could happen, right? So if a human presses the button, there's a human who bears the weight of that judgment. But if an AI makes a mistake or kills someone inappropriately, there is no one to point the finger at. The second thing, this one might be less obvious because there already is some domestic surveillance. But the truth is, a lot of current domestic surveillance is limited by the fact that it takes a human to sift through it and understand it and use it. And I found this older interview from Dario Amodei where he talks about this specifically.
But I actually think this whole idea of constitutional rights and liberty along many different dimensions, can be undermined by AI if we don't update these protections appropriately. So, think about the Fourth Amendment. It is not illegal to, put cameras around everywhere in public space and, record every conversation. It's a public space. You don't have a right to privacy in a public space. But today, the government couldn't record that all and make sense of it. Right. With AI, the ability to transcribe speech, to look through it, correlate it all, you could say, oh, there's this, this person is a member of the opposition. This person is expressing this view, and make a map of all 100 million. And so, are you going to make a mockery of the Fourth Amendment by the technology finding?
It's a great question. It's a great question because many of our laws and our rights were written with an understanding of a technology that does not apply in an age of AI. Things that were totally impossible become possible. And like he's saying, the ability to do things that are legal now, like recording public spaces, suddenly become dystopian when you can do them at scale perfectly across the world, across the country. So these are real threats. And there's basically only one company right now with any sort of pull on the Pentagon that is trying to stop these two things. So I am impressed with what the CEO of Anthropic is doing, what Dario's doing. And even if you think like this, even if you're like this guy's comic, which is like, I don't understand. I just want to crash the market and make white collar jobs redundant. Just make the fucking kill. Oh, sorry, you can't see. Just make the fucking kill bot. If you think I hate them both, I want you to understand that the pressure being applied to Anthropic is immense. The easiest and most effective route for them is to shut the fuck up, listen to the Pentagon, and take their money. Dario has been talking about this for a while. He's written this blog back in January about the risks of powerful AI to national security. But as we approach Friday, February 28th at 5:01 p.m., as we approach this, if he does not comply by 5:01 p.m., we're going to talk about what happened. If he didn't comply by this period, this is what was threatened. Pete Hegseth in the Pentagon said, first, we'll tear up your contract. So you will lose the $200 million you have with the government. Fine. They're a $300 billion company. They can afford it. Second, we will banish you from the supply chain and declare you a national security risk like Huawei, which means nobody can work with you at all. Okay? If you don't comply, we will make you, this has never been done in an American company, by the way. This has only been done on foreign national companies. Anthropic is an American company who is just refusing Again, just refusing to do domestic surveillance and autonomous weapons. They're going to declare them a national security risk and ban them from everyone's supply chain. Then, that's not even all. Then they said, after we do that, we're going to invoke the Defense Production Act of the Korean War. This hasn't really been, it was used during COVID to force some companies to make masks. That is true. But before that, it was the Korean War. They're going to invoke it to force you to give us the code for your program and force you to do things we're asking. So these three things are, again, unprecedented in American history on an American company. And that type of pressure could destroy your company. Even the first two things alone are a risk of just wiping you out. Again, it's a competitive AI race. Google has a ton of money, full speed ahead. OpenAI has a ton of money from Microsoft, full speed ahead. Elon Musk is in the race. Okay, there's this massive race, and Anthropic right now is probably third or maybe second if you think business only. And they are risking losing it all by a decision by the government. So the fact that they are standing up for this does mean something. I have to give credit where credit is due. Standing up for this means something. Again, here are the options. By the way, because currently the Pentagon thinks that Claude is the leader, they think Claude is the best one for what they want, they're going to use them, or they want to use them. But everybody else wants this government contract. So OpenAI has said, yes, we'll do it. We'll do whatever the hell you want. Sorry, I need to make this smaller. Let me move this over. Thank you. OpenAI said, we will do whatever you want, just give us the contract. Google, don't be evil, Google, said, we'll do whatever you want, just give us the contract. XAI, now you know Elon Musk, a paragon of principles. He will stand with Anthropic and say, no, we will not do domestic surveillance. Of course. Of course. Dude, he's been hand over fist. Dude, Elon Musk has been out there every day saying, yeah, whatever. We're not smug, sanctimonious, and hypocritical like Anthropic is. He's tweeted almost like 17 times calling Anthropic misanthropic and trying to say your AI hates whites and Asians, especially Chinese, heterosexuals, and men. He wants this contract so bad, probably because Grok needs fucking money. He wants this bad. He is desperate to get the woke AI of Anthropic out here so he can do the drones and the killbots and whatever. Okay? Understand that everybody has said yes. The only person that said no is Anthropic. It's like the last line of defense before there's killbot drones and mass surveillance. It's a big deal. This is happening this week. There's similar precedent to what's happening, to what happened 10 years ago, if any of you remember this, when the FBI tried to force Apple to unlock a criminal's iPhone and give them full access, and Apple refused, citing the legal right to privacy or whatever. Like that, but at the time, the government didn't threaten the Defense Production Act. They didn't threaten blacklisting. They just asked them. They just like demanded it. And there was a court case and Tim Cook won. And they didn't have to do it. Now the pressure is so much more immense. And so when an hour ago, a few hours ago, today on Thursday, Anthropic rejected the final offer. One day before their deadline. One day before this, they said, no, we thought about it, we talked about it, we're rejecting it. We can't do it. And he put out this letter. And they basically said, look, we believe deeply in the Pentagon using AI. It's important to defend our country and other democracies. We have been used in the past. We're extensively deployed. We've stopped CCP-sponsored cyber attacks. Whatever. We have no objections to any military operation. We have 2 such use cases we don't want to be used for. That's it. This is open letter today. Mass surveillance and fully autonomous weapons. Okay? And at the end of it, he ended with one statement. He said, all this aside, we cannot in good conscience accede. I have to give respect for that. The pressure is crazy. Trump is president for at least 3 more years. There's no respite. They have just made an enemy of a powerful administration in the Pentagon by not giving in on a very, very important thing. These are very powerful and dangerous uses of AI technology. And all of their competitors are now chomping at the bit for the opportunity. Now, that being said, outside of Elon Musk, who of course is not going to change his mind, there is a lot of push internally from other employees at Google and OpenAI. This happened just today, and they already have 200 signatures from employees saying, we would like to put aside our differences and stand together to refuse these current demands for mass surveillance on somebody's going to do. And maybe, possibly, if enough employees sign, they can get movement on this. I think it is the right thing to do. If you are a viewer of mine, I know I have viewers that work at some of these firms because they've reached out to me. You should push for this. I think this is seriously and deeply important. These powers are far too dangerous and they're evolving far too quickly to put in the hand of people who clearly want them. This is just too dangerous. So, I don't know what'll happen next because this is happening live. It's happening today. The Pentagon has yet to respond to this message. Tomorrow, they probably will respond on Friday. And likely, they're going to be trying to crack down on Anthropic. This could end up destroying this company, realistically. And so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm hopeful they back down. I'm hopeful we can get a slowdown on this. I do want to say the dangers are real. AI is currently being used in war game simulations where they game out how like a World War III might go. And every time it recommends nuclear strikes. And this is from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. 95% of the time, it recommends nuclear strikes. Now understand that if this were ever to be given autonomous control, it could be the end of the world quicker than a human could react. In the real life, we have been close to nuclear war many times, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it's been stopped by the actions of humans. If an AI determines that the smart move is to do something, the dangers could be catastrophic. So this is a real thing that I think people should understand and make a priority when thinking about who they vote for, what the pressure they put on their elected representatives, and just what they put out into the world. This is something we should be angry about. And I think if the Pope can ask pastors to stop using AI to write sermons, then we can stop our military from using it for nukes. Now, that being said, if all of this has you a little bit scared, don't worry, because Jensen Huang, who has no vested interest in keeping all this good and going and keeping the stock line up, said any Pentagon Anthropic rift is not the end of the world. No worries. If you don't worry, Jensen Huang has said there's no worries. It's not a big deal. Come on. AI thumbs up. We're good. So, all I know is that by the time you're watching this, especially if it's on clips, it's probably Friday at 5. The Pentagon has done something, and we're in a new era of government intervention in the economy, in AI in the military, and an uncertain future. And I'll follow up on it, but I hope this helped you understand what's going on. Thanks for watching.